All right, you crazy kids, what's going on? Zach Evnesh here with STRONGCast, the podcast. We got Smelly, Mark Smelly Bell on the line.
Yeah.
Now listen, I just did an interview with B-Mac, and I said, this is the strongest podcast in the world. I said, I bet you Mark Bell is going to be mad when I say that.
Well, hey, you know, strength is a relative term, but unfortunately, Mr. Evnesh, you are not related to it.
Oh, God. I just didn't think, I was almost about to say, this is the second strongest podcast in the world, second only to the Powercast, but I was like, hells no, I'm going to run with this.
That's right.
I am running this show. So, listen, guys, everybody that's heard interviews with me and my boy Smelly, you guys have always said that they're the best. And they love them, dude. Seriously, everybody loves them. We've been doing interviews, you and I, for a long time. I think our original interview was through text, well, email, whatever the hell you want to call it. And it was for... it may have been for my Inner Circle website or Elite. I can't remember, but somebody went and actually read it, and they were like, damn, dude, Mark Bell kicked that guy's ass who took his football. I was like, oh, shit, that was old. So very cool to see that people are following our historical relationship here.
That was old school. That was back before people were friends with each other. We invented friendships, Zach.
Exactly, and that's only one of the things that that's only one of the things we've invented. We're going to talk about, this podcast. We talk about obviously training, but something that Mark is. He's very passionate, and dude, to be honest with you, I feel like when I watch your Q&A videos, that you and I have a lot of the same, I guess, like that inner fire. Like we just talk about what it means to be strong versus our, somebody else's drive to just be, to be ripped or to be a bodybuilder. We lift for different reasons.
Part of what you're saying is handsomeness. So it's almost like you're looking at your own reflection. It's like you're looking in the mirror this morning. You're
Dude,
like, this guy's got it all. He reminds me of somebody. Hold on, wait, let me say. Yep, he reminds me of myself. Look at that.
I say to myself, damn, this guy is good looking.
That's right. On a more genuine note, I've admired that you've had staying power. You've been sticking around and you're always trying to do new things, and I'm trying to do the same thing over here. You did a book recently, and you've been telling me how excited you've been about writing it and everything, and I was like, damn, man. And Zach Evnesh, he's all over the place. He's got a lot of stuff going on, so I got to figure out how to get my own stuff going on. And so with the magazine and some different things going on, you start to make excuses why you can't do other things. There's always time. You can always make time for what's important to you. If you're not making time for it, it's obviously not important enough to you. Otherwise, you'd make it a priority. So with doing a book, I had someone in mind to help me do the book, and that just didn't work out. So, then I sat around, felt sorry for myself, cried for a couple of days, that kind of stuff. And then I got back on the horse, so to speak, even though everybody knows that there's no possible way I could climb up onto a horse.
Back when you lived in the Amish land, you would that's when you would go horse riding everywhere.
Yeah, there you go. But so some of these things you just have to. It was the same thing with making the slingshot. I had to realize, Mom and Dad can't help, my brother can't help, no one can help me. The only one that can really ultimately help me see this all the way through and follow through on this dream and this passion is going to be myself. And so that's what I've done in starting an ebook with my boy, Mr. Robot Pants, who's a lifter in my gym. I figured, you know what, this guy's intelligent enough. He's got damn near a PhD in math And I said, you know what? Why not? We'll just do it ourselves. I got all the outlets. I got a lot of the hookups around to be able to push something like that out. So there we go.
So, dude, this is interesting because anybody, first of all, who doesn't follow Smelly, first of all, slap yourself in the face. That's number one. That's mistake number one. Okay? You watching your videos, you always talk about helping yourself. Just mentioned it now. Something I realized that, dude, here and there when I need to talk to somebody and I need some just like straight up ass kick advice, I say, man, I'm going to call up my boy Smelly. You've never reached out to me, honestly, and said, Zach, give me your feedback on this. I need your advice on this. You never reached out to me and said, man, if I put out Power Magazine, do you think this would work? Do you think I should create, these knee reps? Do you think I should lose weight? Like, you just kind of, do you ever reach out to anybody and say, hey, man, what do you think about this, aside from your wife?
Yeah, there is a little of that going on, of course, but usually I feel comfortable enough with the ideas that I have. My mom, I would say in a lot of ways, my mom has given me a lot of great advice over the years, but more so just stuff from like when you're a little kid, like don't touch the hot stove, that kind of stuff. Just real practical stuff. She never has said anything all that profound to me, except for she told me one day, she just said, you know what you're really good at? And I said, what? She said, you're really good at making money. She said it's like, she's like, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is that you're good at, but she's like, you find something and then you follow through with it and then it makes money. So like, you kind of got the magic touch. He says not everybody has that. So for whatever reason, I have, kind of like a good business sense in some weird way. And when I start talking and communicating with other people and start talking to them about business, I think they're shocked in some ways because they're like, damn, look at this freaking meathead. He's talking about, business stuff. And I think they're sometimes a little bit taken back. So I do bounce ideas off people sometimes. Another thing, if I'm good at anything, is to realize that I'm not the best at really much of anything. I'm not the best at. I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the best presenter. I'm not the best powerlifter. I'm not the best publisher. But what I am able to do is I'm able to find people and try to surround myself with people that just do things a little bit better or just do things a little bit tighter. And those are sometimes the people I'll reach out to in certain areas. So, like, for example, if I needed to condition somebody for wrestling, I would call you. You'd be the first person I'd call. But I don't really do that kind of stuff, so I haven't had to reach out to you on that.
That's the only thing I'm good for.
on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. So, look at, I've seen your, I guess, evolution. I mean, even though we've kind of, quote unquote, known each other, we never really met till a few years ago. But I've seen your evolution from when you were a competitive wrestler. Were you a pro wrestler when you were out in Ohio, or was this amateur? I'm not sure what level that was, but I remember you were a wrestler.
This is the real shit. This is no headgear, no wrestling singlets, none of that bullshit. This is like whipping people off the ropes and clotheslining them, the pros.
Okay. Pro wrestling, seeing you, on the original West Side VHS tapes, that was actually really my favorite tape, was the Special Strengths. That really changed my attitude and my way of thinking about training wrestlers and just athletes in general. Then I remember seeing, when your photos on the T Nation forum, you weighed like 215. You were ripped. I mean, you were ripped.
Right.
And then going into the super heavies, traveling, moving out to California, being on, your brother doing the documentary. And I've just seen your evolution, and I've also, what I look at when I see that impresses me, it fires me up, it inspires me. You don't really wait for perfection, but you just get shit going versus there's the people that I get this email a lot where they're kind of stuck. They're frozen. They don't really, they don't go after it, be it in a business thing, a life thing, even training, you know, they just can't do it. What are the things that you do to push yourself to constantly evolve? And in a way, it looks like you let go of your old self to recreate your new self. You know, like, okay, I'm a pro wrestler. Now I'm going to try to be the strongest super heavyweight powerlifter. Now I'm going to lose, I don't even know how much weight you lost, but you're ripped, and, you know, the magazine is pumping. Like, how do you keep evolving, recreating? It's, you know, you obviously have to me, I think that's mental toughness.
Right. Well, what I try to, you know, there's a few things there, but what I always say, and I'm about to shoot a video on this, is I tell people walk into my gym, and they just see tons and tons of iron. I mean, we got like 3 competition bench presses that look pretty gnarly. I mean, these are beefed up bench presses. It's not just your old school Sears, you know, with the concrete filled plastic or whatever bench presses. You know, these are real competition benches. Even those alone are somewhat intimidating to people. We got tons of different barbells, tons of different plates, tons of this, tons of that, 3 monoliths, and so on. And people will come in. Everything's overbuilt. You know, we have the monster rogue rack, and everything's way overdone. Everything's way over the top. But it's just, you know, people walk in and they see that, and they think, man, like, this is crazy. Like, these guys are over the top. You know, these guys are hardcore, or, you know, however they want to say it. But really what I try to tell people is, like, you know what, this looks like lifting weights, but this is disguised. This is a giant disguise. This is lifting weights with a giant mustache on it.
Really?
It's what it really is. It's all about self-improvement.
Okay.
We're in there to try to improve. We could be doing anything. We could be downhill skiing. We could be jumping out of a fucking plane. We could be doing whatever. You know, people like to do different adventures, different challenges, to challenge themselves. And the way I look at it is, every time I'm in there, I'm not just training my muscles. I'm not just training for strength. I'm training my brain. And I get to the point where I'll do a lift, and I don't know what the hell it is, but it's the lift itself will sometimes piss me off. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like because I got myself geeked up, you know, to do the lift, or really what it is. But I'll just, like, walk away. And everyone knows, like, I'm not a dick. You know, I'm not a dick in the gym or anything like that. But everybody knows, like, all right, he probably needs a space. He's going to go walk off for a minute. I'm not, like, kicking the chalk bowl over or anything. Like, I'm not acting like a prick. But it's just an area that I get to where I'm like, okay, well, that was my second set, and I got 2 more to go. And that's just all I'm doing is I'm just basically trying to find the next level. I'm kind of, you know, walking around trying to dig deep and find what I need to find to get through the rest of the workout. So, you know, a lot of times it's just you're not just in there training, not just in there trying to get bigger. You're training for life. You're training your mind. You're training that mental toughness that you mentioned to keep challenging yourself. And with doing these different things, you know, I talked to one guy about, you know, when I was doing Power Magazine, he was involved in publication already, and he said, "Oh man," he said, "I don't really recommend that you do that because publications are dying," you know. And you know, I kind of took the wind out of my sails for a minute, but then I said to myself, I was like, you know what? The guy's wrong. Powerlifters need this. I need this. So a lot of times it's fulfilling. I'm basically fulfilling my own needs, even with super training. When I, you know, came up with the concept of having this gym, it was filling a void for myself to get myself stronger, because I knew out here in California I'd have to build a similar environment to that which they had out there at Westside Barbell, to get myself better, to get other people better, and to share and to spread the word of strength. To me, that's a big part of getting myself stronger and making myself grow. I think Louis Simmons has a great term that he would say. He would say basically, you know, if you were stuck on an island and all you ever read was one book, that's kind of all you would ever know is one book. You know, all you ever know is the information inside that book. And for myself, I like to have different challenges and different experiences and meet and help different people. I feel that helps me to grow, not just muscle-wise, not just be big and jacked and tan, but to grow internally as well.
So when you want to take things to, you know, these like next levels, what inspires you to make that change? When you say to yourself, you know, in that one highlight video, you know, you just touch upon it, like Guy said, hey, don't make a print magazine. You know, this is like a day and age of technology. That thing ain't going to work. And you were like, fuck that. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do it. And then things like this weight loss that you went on to challenge yourself, you set yourself a goal. You know, aside from the fact that you said, I'm training for life, what is like the thing that's inside of you? I guess I'm asking, like, what is your why? You know, why do you keep pushing to this? Is it because you're a father and a husband and you want to represent for your family? Is it because you want to leave some sort of legacy? Like, why do you push things to the levels that you do, and how could people learn from that, you know, in addition to the things you just said?
It's searching for greatness is what I'm doing, and whether I, you know, achieve that or whether I actually ever do anything that I feel is, you know, is kind of worthy of that, is not necessarily the end game. Really, it's just a matter of continuing to try to top, you know, whatever I did before. And you know, my brother Mike, who passed away a few years ago, you know, in the film, he says, I feel like I have something great inside of me and I want to share it with the whole world. And he kind of didn't know what it was. And I feel very similar to that. I feel like, you know, me and Mike and Chris we've always been involved in weights. We've always been involved in sports, and we've always tried to do to the best of our ability. And we used to talk about it all the time. Like, I don't know how we knew it or what we knew or whatever, but we used to always think that it was going to lead to something. We didn't even really know what. But, you know, it's kind of some of his words, you know, even the quote that's on the back of my T-shirts from him, he said, I'd rather be dead than average. And that is, to me, I don't want to be average. Maybe that's okay for some other people to have an average 9-to-5 job and to do things that way. Some people are very comfortable with that, and they're very, very happy. You know, don't think that just because someone's striving for greatness that they're happier than you. That definitely is not the case. It actually can be quite maddening at times.
Oh God!
But
I hear you.
but really, it's kind of the perception that you have in your head of the way that everybody else thinks about you. And I said it before too, like, you know, what do the kids say about Zach Evanish? You know, when one kid, you know, moves away and he tells somebody else about his experience training with Zach Evanish, is he saying, oh, you know, I kind of like the gym, but it really wasn't that different than any other gym. Zach wasn't really motivating. He wasn't really fired up, and I was expecting him to be excited to train me, and it was just like blah. I trained there for 3 weeks. You know, is that what they're saying about you? You know, you probably, because you're nuts and you're out of your mind, you probably actually think that sometimes. But, you know,
I worry about the shit they say about me.
Oh, of course.
I'm like, damn, I'm going to get arrested one day if I keep freaking out on these kids.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's your passion, and it just kind of builds upon itself, you know, over the years. Like right now I have a goal to kind of prove to people that I can lift raw. And are there people out there that think I can't lift raw? I have no fucking idea. They probably don't even care. They probably don't actually even care. You know, I just put up a video benching 540 raw. I weigh about 260 right now. And the lift was pretty easy. I could probably do 550 or 560. should that be enough? You know, you would figure that that should be enough for me to be like, all right, I think I proved a pretty good point. That's one of the strongest benches in the entire world at weight class, you know, raw. So, but it's a perception you have. You hear athletes say it all the time. Someone wins the Super Bowl, and they're like, no one gave us a chance. They counted us out, and it's like, no, that's your own perception of the way people are viewing you. It's not the real perception of the way people are perceiving you. So you make up, as an athlete, you make up these things in your mind, and kind of like almost like the newspaper clippings the coach, you know, sticks in the locker room, right? You know, the coach will stick these things in the locker room that one team said about another, get them all fired up, and that'll be their rallying point for, you know, kicking the crap out of the other team. It's like I feel like I'm kind of constantly, you know, doing that type of stuff. Even in the book that I'm writing, you know, it kind of starts out, hey, I've never read a book before, but I decided to write one. And that's just like a shot at everybody who said, oh, you know, he's only on like a 5th grade reading level when I was in like 10th grade. You know, it's like I can still, just because I'm at a certain level with a certain thing doesn't make me so dysfunctional that I can't function and can't still do well in, you know, certain areas, see, that kind of thing.
So here's something that we were talking about right before we started recording that I can't remember how we worded, but we're like, damn, dude, I can't friggin', I'm just going to start doing shit on my own instead of waiting for people to help me get this done and get that done. You know, how do you deal with, be it at your gym, in business, in life, you know, you got people that kind of, I guess, make the cut or don't make the cut. Let's say it's going on in your gym or, you know, in some sort of like business deal. How do you decide to move forward or to get rid of somebody, cut them loose?
That's actually exactly what I do. Is I just move forward. I don't necessarily. What I do is I just kind of cut ties with people. So if there's an issue, and I actually really feel bad about it in the end because I don't like doing that. You know, you're probably similar in that sense, but you know, sometimes if someone's slowing you down and they're getting in the way or they're too negative, you're going to have to figure out a way to kind of sever ties with them. And then in terms of like being able to work with or for anybody, that has never worked for me. You know, and I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, you're not going to find too many people, unless I'm totally off track here. You're not going to find too many people who are going to say, yeah, Mark Bell's a dick. You're not going to find too many people that say that. But for whatever reason, if I work under somebody, it just doesn't work. Maybe I have too big of an ego or something to that effect. You know, like for like a while back, I was doing the seminars with CrossFit and you know, working under Louis Simmons. He had his idea of the way that they should be run, and I was trying to speak the CrossFitters' language more rather than talk about, you know, compensatory acceleration and the exact speed that you need to have on an eccentric in a squat. I just felt like that's not that important to these people. They want to hear, they want to be told what to do, and only kind of want to know why to do it, you know. And I've been very successful in working with the CrossFitters since that time, but we were just not unable to see eye to eye to make all that work out. And kind of like you said, it's really hard to work for or with someone else. And so anybody out there that you know, is looking to, I encourage people all the time to, you know, either you know, always be. I think you should, no matter what, always be looking for another job. You might think you're happy at your job now, but that really only lasts about 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years. And you should be looking for something else. Maybe it's in your same field. I have a guy in my gym, Treston Scholl, who kind of has the idea that he's going to have this job for like the next, you know, 30 years, and I'm sure that he would be pretty happy with that because of the you know, because his salary would go up over the years, and you know, all that kind of stuff that goes along with holding the job that long. But at the same time, I know that he'll be fed up at some point. He's smart enough to figure out some stuff on his own, and I'm sure at some point he'll probably do something on his own.
So, I think people are, they like listening to your training methods, Smelly, right? They like listening to assess my deadlift, assess my bench press. But I think people are using or starting to learn to use the training to kind of get them ahead in life, which is, right. I think, like, you know, if people like you and I, if we weren't involved in, like, lifting heavy, I don't know. I'm just not so sure what kind of people we would be, like where we would have, like, learned really right. about life. You've managed to take training, something you love, and just you know, refused essentially by you getting a new job. Your new job is, first it was the slingshot, then it became the magazine, then it became the knee wraps, elbow sleeves, wrist wraps. So you are essentially keep getting a new job. Like, do you decide yourself personally to keep doing this, or does your wife Andy say, hey Mark, like, you should really try to do this? Or do your kids, like, how does your family impact who you are, and I guess, like, the way you are?
My family impacts the way I am greatly. Andy, my wife, who is also heavily involved in Power Magazine, it's basically just her and I. And she has been amazing in a sense that she's just been so supportive to the point where with powerlifting, she doesn't really even intervene with anything with powerlifting. She'll come to meets and be supportive and stuff like that. But she's not like hanging around the gym a bunch and that kind of thing, which is fine. Some guys have their girlfriends or something like that do that, but I actually just kind of find it more distracting than anything. I have way too much going on in the training session. I'm like training and coaching and so on.
Right.
But in terms of like some of the products that I've come up with, they don't really have anything to do with anything other than the fact that I just want to make great products that help people. And so the slingshot is a supportive device. You know, it's used for bench press, push-ups, dips. It also teaches you good form, along with allowing you to overload, handle more weight, that kind of stuff. But then I made elbow sleeves. The elbow sleeves are protective for the elbows. You can actually wear them on your knees as well. I've had tendinitis, tendinosis, every kind of itis and osis you can think of. And I've wrapped up. I used to get made fun of all the time, you know, at powerlifting meets, you know, because I'd be in my squat suit, and then I'd get my knees wrapped, and then, like, just to get underneath the squat bar the right way, because my upper body's so tight, I had to have my elbows wrapped and my wrists. So I had my wrist wraps on, my elbow. I looked like a freaking mummy going up to the bar. And any time in training that I'd go real heavy, I'd be doing the same thing. And I started to have one of my guys in the gym, Juan Laiha, we call him Juan John.
I had so many amazing nicknames in that gym.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we can get to that in a minute.
Robot Pants is a little freaky. It's almost like going into, like, he's almost got like a porno name there.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's about to be Dr. Robot Pants pretty soon.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But you know, basically all these products are just supportive gear that I have been tweaking and messing around with. I mean, there's pictures and videos and stuff of me wearing, you know, some of these different contraptions, you know, 5 or 6 years ago. So a lot of this stuff is it's like I don't want to put out stuff just to make money.
Right.
That's not really the point. However, you start to learn as you start to build a business around something. You start to kind of learn and see. You're like, man, it'd be kind of nice if when people clicked on the Zach Evanesh book and it talks about, you know, sled pulling and X, Y, and Z in there, and maybe I'm selling sleds off the site, or maybe refers it to somebody else, and you make a small percentage on a click through, or however it works. It's just you're not trying to squeeze everybody for money, but at the same time, you're building a brand and you're building a specific way to train with specific pieces of equipment, you might get a little something for that on the side, you know?
Agreed. I mean, I always tell people, hey, man, the more people you help, that's how you make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know that you have to go, so I don't want to crush you on time. But let me ask you this question, because we could definitely come back and hit a part 2. Everybody, not everybody, but when they're asking you questions to your super training site, Q&A, it's a training question, and here and there it is a life question, like, hey, how did you start making the slingshot? How did you turn your passion into, what you do? This is a question I like to ask people, and it throws them a little bit. What's a question that, you wish somebody would ask you? They haven't asked you. That's on any interview or any Q&A, and you're like, damn, dude, people really need to know this. What's a question that you wish somebody would ask you?
I guess, if I had to kind of pinpoint that's a little bit of a tough question, but it kind of goes a little something like this. Basically, the way I look at things is, it takes a little bit of work and a little bit of effort to see some changes. For example, you might have a guy that comes to your gym who's really overweight and so on, and say, dude, just stop drinking soda. Just cut out any sugar that you're drinking, and boom, they drop 10 pounds, And then you make a couple changes with some of their lifts, and they get a little stronger. You make a couple changes here and there, and they start to build a little bit of muscle. I want people out there to really understand that it just takes a little bit to get yourself moving in the right direction. However, when you get stuck, it takes so much more than you think, and you're actually capable of doing it, though. Your body is capable, your mind is capable of so much more than you actually give it credit for. So those of you out there that get stuck, continue to drive forward, continue to plow forward, and continue to lift and train like a motherfucker, because you will get better, and you will push through it. You will get to the other side. I say it very often is that it takes a little bit to be good. It takes that much more to be great. Like if you were to try to quantify it and stick a percentage on it, you can make a 10% change in your daily routine, whatever that may be. You make 10% change in your daily routine, and you see some fantastic results. Well, it's going to take a lot more than that. You hear football teams talk about it all the time, like they'll go out there and they'll score 30 points, and man, it's going to take a lot more than that to win a Super Bowl. It takes a little bit to be good. It takes that much more to be great. You're going to have to put in double or triple the effort in business to even say double quit, double your efforts or give up. When somebody's business is in trouble, if your gym's in trouble or whatever, you start saying, you know what, I'm only there 6 hours a day. I got to be there 12 hours a day. Or I got to hustle. I got to get out in the street. I got to get some flyers out, and I got to double my efforts. You double your efforts, and you're still stuck. Then in business, a lot of times people quit because they can't afford to keep that business open. But this is your body. This is your future. This is your life. This is your legacy is on the line. Even if you're not great if you're not great in the eyes of thousands, maybe you'll be great in the eyes of a few, and even that is inspiring, and even that will get somebody else off their couch to go to the gym, and maybe you'll inspire somebody to bench 300 pounds or whatever.
Mark Bell always dropping the wisdoms on life. Yo, dude, let's close out with this. So, you basically tell people, hey, man, be a worker. I know your dad is a freaking hard worker, because I remember when I met him, I think your parents live out in California, right?
Yeah, they moved out here.
Right, but when I met him, when you guys did the seminar at my gym, you and Jesse, and he was talking about purchasing somebody else's, I think, accounting business, and it was pretty cool. I see I was listening to him, and it's interesting to hear how you talk about business and how he had, he had that business mind. You've been influenced by, you seem like you are a guy that likes to get inspired and influenced. So, like, what does your day look like? You know, do you have downtime to, you just said you don't read books. I mean, does a movie, like, inspire you? What does your day look like? Are you awake early and running around all day between gym and exploding Starbucks bathrooms? Like, how does the day, give us a 2-minute rundown on Smelly's day.
The day ends up being pretty crazy, but not for the reasons that you might think. One of the reasons the day ends up being crazy is because I actually don't have to do anything in particular. There's nothing that's like that pressing, that other than stuff with my children, of course, getting them to school and so on. But even my wife handles a lot of that stuff. But basically, the basic day is to, before I go to bed, I usually try to think of the things that I want to do the next day, and that way I got a little motivation to get up out of bed a little quicker. I normally start the day pretty early, around 5 o'clock is when I have my first meal, because the meals are important towards training.
What's your first meal? What is your first meal today?
My first meal every single day is pretty much the same thing. I take a bunch of grits, I throw them in a pot with some water, I get them to boil, I throw in 10 egg whites in there, and I stir the sucker up until it kind of froths up a little bit, and I pour it out, and I throw some like either honey, or I have this stuff, this Walden Farms syrup that's calorie-free. I throw that shit on there. Sometimes throw a little cinnamon or whatever else in there. And sometimes a little protein powder in there or something like that as well. And that's usually how I start out every single day, because the meals and the diet and the whole entire lifestyle is all packaged in with trying to do the best I possibly can in the gym. And that's, you know, like I said earlier, you know, it takes a little bit to be good, and it takes that much more to be great. If you want to be great at something, you're going to have to make sure that you're covering all your bases. So everything I do during the entire course of the day is thinking towards training. I mean, obviously, there's points in the day when I'm thinking about business, thinking about this, but then I start going, oh shit, we're getting up to like that 3-hour mark. It's time. I need to find protein, or I need to find protein and carbs, or whatever the situation is. I need to, like, you know, figure out a way to get to that meal. Because if I know if I only have 4 meals on one day, 5 on another, 3 on another, I'm supposed to be getting 6 meals every day. By the time I get to that Saturday squat session, it might not go the way I want it to, and maybe that had something. Maybe that had a factor, maybe that played a factor, and maybe it didn't. But I want to make sure all my bases are covered. But back to the, you know, how things go for me for the day. Basically, just planning, you know, what to do for Power Magazine. Power Magazine is a pretty big priority, because it takes a long time to get all the articles in and to get everything all together for that, along with the photos and everything. The next thing in line a lot of times is the Power Project. I've cut those back quite a bit to about once a week with the addition of the podcast and stuff. I've cut those back quite a bit. And then, you know, just it's you know, kind of seeing if the kids have a baseball game, or my son Jake plays baseball, or even just doing something with the kids and the wife, just going out to eat some sushi or you know, something along those lines. But the days don't get too hectic, except like when the magazine is coming to a close and we got to get everything in at a certain time. We have a deadline to meet. And then it seems like for whatever reason, every single time that time comes around, everything goes haywire. Like this week, for example, I had my monolift come in. I'm interviewing Dr. Lane Norton today for my PowerCast. You hit me up, you know, to do this. I
laid the law down on you, son. I was harassing you for a while, and
and so
you were ducking me. You were ducking me, and I had to say, hey, today's your day, or I'm flying out to California and messing you up.
I was getting a little nervous.
Threatened you.
But yeah, it comes in spurts like that. You know, as an entrepreneur, that's kind of the way things work. You sometimes aren't doing shit, and then you're sometimes just completely overwhelmed with tons and tons of shit.
And So your day, breakfast, then you're running around throughout the day, eating and doing work for the magazine, the podcast. And when do you guys train? When do you train? In the evening, in the day?
I usually get to the gym around like 2 or 3 o'clock on Tuesday or Thursday. And Tuesday I train some CrossFitters. Monday I train a whole group of CrossFitters as well, but I don't do any lifting on that day. And then Saturday, Sunday we meet up at around 8:30 in the morning. And the workouts themselves probably take about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But the training session kind of just goes on forever. It's about a 4-hour process.
Really? Why?
We're slow, man. Slow and we're fat.
Oh, God, you guys aren't fat. So, I mean, it seems things, when I watch the videos, guys are hauling ass. Like, you're squatting, then you're switching weight, then you're the spotter, then you're, it doesn't seem like there's really a whole lot of messing around.
No, yeah, I mean, there's not, but there's a little bit of lag time beforehand. There's a little lag time towards the end. And when you get down to those last few assistance movements, and you realize, you kind of start to feel like they don't matter as much as the main movement, and you start to dick around a little bit more, and things start to take a little bit more time. It also just takes a long time because people come to the gym at different times. So one group might come in at 3, and they'll go from 3 to 4, or 3 to 4:30. Next group might go from 4:30 to 6 or however it works, and next thing you know, you're there till 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And
then you're like, holy crap. So, dude, the next time we talk, we should definitely, there's so many guys that just they love to lift, and they want to find a way to run a gym. And to be honest with you, I'm not so sure just training athletes is really the best way. And you train just powerlifters, but you do work with some CrossFitians, as you say. So next time we chat, let's remember that and listen to how a powerlifter runs a gym, and it'll be interesting. So this was awesome.
That'll be a great topic because my gym has actually been made free recently. So I'll kind of leave you guys on that note. Try to chew on that for a couple days, and
chew on that for a couple of days. Right, you crazy kids. Now, hopefully you don't have 1,000 people showing up at your gym now that they know it's free. Let's give people a couple places to find you. Number one, supertraining.tv. I think that's really the easiest way as well.
Yeah, supertraining.tv is the easiest way to find me because it has all the information on. It's got the PowerCast information is up there. We're also on iTunes as well, but for those of you that hate iTunes, if you go to supertraining.tv, it has some various forms of media that you can go to upload, download.
Subscribe to it. Subscribe to it through your phone.
There you go.
That's what they could do.
And then also I got the YouTube Power Project, which is just youtube.com/supertraining06. Anybody has any questions they want to fire out to me, I'm sorry you're out of luck. Now, if you want to shoot a question over to me, it's Power Project Army at yahoo.com.
Awesome. And also they can find you on Facebook. You don't really post on a fan page. You have your profile, so that I will link all that stuff up. Smelly, one last thing. Do you have a movie that you feel everybody should watch?
Braveheart.
Really? That's the movie. Interesting. We will leave it at that.
Everyone's got to watch Braveheart.
Everybody has to watch Braveheart. Powerlifting Gym is free. Supertraining.tv, thepowermagazine.com. And that's it, man. I'll link all this up. We'll put this up on YouTube and iTunes. I'm slick like that. I'll put a bunch of photos of you on a video and upload this audio. Smelly, you're the best. And thanks so much, bro, for being a great friend. And I'll talk to you later. And I know you got to run.
I love you.
Peace out. Much love to you too, Smelly. And I know that if you
Come on, bang. Yeah. Coach Adil's underground strength coach. Underground, a brand you could trust, and these rappers